So Honorable Chidawu alleges that I have a personal agenda. Interesting, maybe you could let it on what exactly that it is. Mind you, it is the 30,000 people resident on the land that we are talking of. As the Minister of State for the province, I would have imagined their concerns and welfare to be top priority for him. Anyway, different strokes for different folks. Fact, Billy has no title deeds. Title deeds that he has are fraudulent, and he will show you, and will prove that. Let's go step by step in that, because that's the key issue. The key issue is that the ownership is with Billy Rottenberg. And we've always said Billy has never owned that land. That land has always been owned by Rothmans International. Rothmans International ceded that land to the government. When it is state land cannot then cede it to anybody else other than to a person that they feel is appropriate. But state cannot sell land because it's already state land. So it is important in that regard for us to go through the necessary documentation which will prove that, first of all, the government gazette of the 16 June 2006, which is here, okay, it reads that the deed of transfer, and I will read it so that the deed of transfer is in the name of Rothmans International Enterprises. This is a government gazette. It does not talk about Marimba properties. But we'll show you again the fraudulent activities which are in these offices, which are subject to an investigation. So this is Rothmans International. It's right here. Rothmans International, in respect of a certain piece of land in the district of Salisbury, being stand 48 Aspindale Township of subdivision A and B of Lokimba, measuring 303 hectares. This is what it is. This is government doing this. The deed is here. The deed of transfer is here. I certify that the annex is a true copy of the deed of transfer. The deed of transfer is here. This is what ownership is. Ownership is about a deed of transfer. Ownership is not about you talking to Oliver Chidawu, talking to July Moyo, and corrupting a few people in the registrar office, in the deeds office, to manipulate papers so that suddenly a white man who never owned the land becomes the owner. If you think they are black land barons, he is a criminal and the land baron, Billy Rottenberg. He fraudulently came up with deeds. So what I want you to pick up on this is this date, 1996. This date which you see there, then these are Billy Rottenberg's title deeds. I tell you, I wish I was a prosecutor in this case. I wish I was a prosecutor in this case. My good Lord, make me a lawyer one day, make me a prosecutor. These are fraudulent. It's the same deed. So Billy Rottenberg's are Marimba properties, and he did them on which day? The first day of May. This was done in June. May and June. The owner's transfer was in June, but he then claims he's the owner. So why did government in the gazette not put Marimba properties? I want to expose corruption. I said, I repeat, I'm not a prosecutor. Here is the evidence. But you have big men who are so drunk with corruption that they call for a press conference to defend a white man who's fraudulent. And you think we shall watch, and you think we shall be scared. Pane vamwe vaplantwa vauya panapa vabhili vanhu vatema varungu. Handizvo. Ende ngavazive kuti hatitye. Inini handitye. We must understand that.
And we must understand these are the facts which are there. Ownership is about title. Rothmans owned this. They gazetted as Rothmans. This is government. The very same government today comes and says the owner is Marimba Properties, which actually had the land before the owners. So where is now the deed of transfer from Marimba Properties to Rothmans? So in fact, if he's even relying on his documentation, it means he's not the owner is Rothmans in terms of the dates. So how does he then claim this land now and say he's the owner of the land? This is the subject of contention which is there. We move again. We go to government. Government allocates this piece of land to here, government department, 2005. It's a letter. Avanda kungomara paya vakangokandwa vakaenda kune tsamba yehurumende yakabva kuno gazette iyo document iripo. So you've got Takawira, you've got Joshua Nkomo, you've got Wadzanai, who are part of the cooperatives of that place. Tande koko government yada withdraw, nekuno withdraw land vakaenda ku court. And it was a with court order. I don't see Marimba Properties, I don't see Billy Rottenberg going to court claiming for this piece of land. Why did he not go? How can you allow your property to be taken away? Kaswakanya pesa. Ozongo vomoka. Authority property there. Here is a court order. Not only that, there's also another court order. This is the court order. He was the night. There's also another court order. The Leopold Takawira government saying the status quo. The court saying the status quo must remain. Hapana no. So saka alikubvuma kuti uku akusikwake asanoti ndokwake pataito DDS, but kumwakuda my comrades say uhori munyika wasvika ipapo kuti vadhara vodhakwa necorruption wotadza kuona izvi zvinowanyadzisa kudai. What rubbish is this? And you think people like myself should be scared of this? And we should not represent people. This is about national interest. The only thing you own entirely which gives you peace is your home.
Yes.
And we will fight to the bitter end for people to own their homes when they'll be given by government. It's part of the agenda of this country, national housing. But national housing which is affordable. And this is what we have here. We allow us to be motive about this because this is sickening. These are the people who purport to be representing the thing president. I wakakuenda kune mkuru every day chuana naye hatichke isu tine vanhu vasingaende ikoko asi chitsigira mabasa mukuru nemapolicies nemutemo tichitedza. Vakawanda vanoenda ikoko vanyeba kuti tatumwa napresident kuite chakati. Tichaexpose nyaya yemapurisa vamatanga vachipindira munyaya iyi. Pane scam iripo yandichakutaurirai yandida kufumura nhasi kuti muzive kuti ndeipi. Court order iripo vamatanga naDavid iyi yachakupaidze mukoti nekuti munoda evidence. Zvavanotaura kuti havana kutumira mapurisa asi vaitumira mapurisa kuti vanhu varume. Vakanzi napresident court order iri kutsvanza hapana court order. Vakandishedza kusvika kuti very sorry officer commanding Dumbura commissioner akuya kuzoadresa vanhu kuJoshua Nkomo akaenda kanoadresa vanhu. So where did that come from? The president in his wisdom said vamatanga ndiri kunzwa kuti mapurisa ari kuenda mudhinda watu nekuti vaishandisa zita rapresident. We are there to protect the name of the president and we will do that. Once I court order, next day court order and I simple. Some mapurisa vese support unit vaenda kunoita ti kunoshungurudza vana amadzimai da kubereka vasina kuzogona kuzoita izvozvo nenyaya yezvinhu zvisina basa zvouyu kudai. So we also have that. So these are the issues that I wanted us to discuss. So the allocations and everything. Then we go to the Ministry of Justice, where we want to say, the company knows the Marimba Properties, yaka register here. Sam, hakuna company. Chidawu itabazu kudza dungu rake corruption angari ku America uko vanachirwa muna kuti mudhara pinde mupawa akuda kutita kunge tisingazivi zvatinoita. Minister of Justice yakanyora tsamba kuti hapana company inonzi Marimba Properties. Saka yabva kupi? Anti-corruption, SACCO, opeta maoko, mapurisa opeta maoko, yet there are state agencies to investigate. Nekuti vese varimo. How can we have confidence in a system where the people who are supposed to be investing in corruption are part of it? Billy has captured anti-corruption. He's captured SACCO. Anatabani mpofu, basaraki ndere kunyepa. Yet his role as SACCO is not to investigate, but to prosecute. So what is the role of the police in this country? They've got the powers to investigate. Kasimun Wese is a de facto prosecutor general. I think what Chikidra and the office my president and so forth. Kuita office my president akusuku abuser. His terms of reference are not to arrest. They are to prosecute, but he cannot prosecute in court because he's not a lawyer. And I'm challenging his appointment in the court in the near future, in the constitutional court. Because he is just corrupt. So you have got groups of corruption. Babu raise a money, it's a fundraising scam in the country. Kuti kana wenda uta marwana kune munhu ane mari womutora mari. Uyu Felix Mnyaradzi ari mujero. Santon yese yakasungirwa akapa mapurisa matanga na home states. Kwa hasi kusungwa sei. Opinda mujere munhu complainant ngwa waenda kuna accused mujere asina kunyorwa pasi. Waita meeting mu office. Omuti ndiri kuda ma stands for. Nekuti president understand. Amai understand. My twins understand. Achinyepa. Evidence denied. Investigating hapana chirukita. Wende ne wakumana wesa. Investigating officer njana kuna kungopinda. Mujere achuona msungu achida more information. Kwa hiyo unapinda mujere ufuna kurekod. Kwa ukanaone bomb. Investigation takanyura kuna prosecutor general hapana chirukita. Criminals have captured the whole system, and we must watch. The one right that we have is to speak, and that speaking will be recorded, and one day the evidence will come out. We will not allow that to happen. So you have this situation. Okay, how can residents who are given government land be asked to pay in smaller installments, suddenly to be asked to pay 720 per month for 20 years? Yeah? For a stand measuring 800 square meters for 20 years. Yeah? You are paying 720. Do you know why they are fighting this now? Barabisa pressure kuti no garai papo. Chidawu's conference was to endorse this corruption. Pa 7-20 July moyarimo, matangarimo, iyayo. But ende munotora as government. Makapo nopi government ine urongwa ye affordable housing ingachaji Maria kadai. Tona no matema uchi manya ni murungu kuti imbwaso ngati pasinazo. Mofunga kuti tinopunyuka nazo isusu. 720 per month in US dollars for 20 years. Chinicha urumeti. Saka varida kuti mubvume. Woenda kunogowana mari. Ndio yavari kuira. Petition iyi. Vakaenda kuna president vakanyamba kuti vanhu vashoma. Vari kuita sei? Vari kutargeta vanhu vagara vachidefenda kuti vasungwe. Kunzi land barons. Ko uyu murungu land baron ane fake iyi hamusi kumusunga sei? E-petitioning. Over 1,000 people, nearly 2,000 wakasai. Vachitara kuna president kuti aiwaka. Zvamuri kunyeperwa kunzi kune vanhu vashoma varipo. Ko vanhu vese ava havana kuwirirana nazvo. But vari kunoudza president manje. Ndosaka akaita press conference nezuro kuti murungu abvuma garai ipapo and so forth, but bhadharai. Munobhadhara chii? Muchisaina maagreements ekubhadhara mari. Munosira vana venyu zvikwereti. Generations to come. Free land yakabva kune government. The understanding of that land was the servicing would be done by the cooperatives. And that's what they would pay. They would not pay for the land. The same way the former president was very clear. The chief of the Kings, they want to go. Even my ministers are muna kutenga minda yatakakupai. Why do you want people to buy land? Where are those principles?
That's true.
We must have principles. We must adhere to national housing inenge yatangwa neHurumende. But varipo kusvibisa zita revakuru. So iyi nyaya iyi haite ndipo pavari. Chii chimwe chavoda kuestablish? Vada kuisa pressure kuti Hurumende iti all right, takumukompensata bili. Takumpa imwe land somewhere. Ndio pressure vari kuisa kuti vakompensate iyi asiri muridzi. Oinde nema-fake documents. Takasangana nemukuru wenyika, Vice President Vachiwenga is on record saying that hapana kuno pavanoenda vana 30,000 vanoenda kupi vakapewa negovernment. Kana pane muridzi tichamukompensate. Auye nemapepa. But akuuya nemapepa ari fake eye avari kushandisa mumacourts. Just because they're innocent, havana representation, havana lawyer, havana mari, vari kudyiwa kumakoti nekuti hapana ndiyeni. But izotaramba. For as long as I'm alive, I will defend the rights of the people in this country wherever they are. I'm a member of parliament for the nation. I'm not a member of parliament for Noto. When I'm in the House of Assembly, I deal with national issues. Kana pale wachida kuza but Mliswa alitsvagizije kumarimba aiwa ndikutsvaga ikoko nekune policy yenational housing iri affordable yakukanganiswa nematsotsi. And that is the reason why I'm there. So don't question me what I'm doing kubetsera munhu ari within government policy yatiri kuita nigiri. So iyi ndiyo yavakuda manje kuti vakompensate mari hodya mari zveland. Billy is well known for being a speculator. Todo mine akapiwa. Hana kumaina akatengesa 200 million. Iye mna western area yewange vamupa futi zvakare ukasina record yekumaina acha speculator wange apiwa. So what is so special about Murungu? It's not a secret kuti ishamari ya president vanozivana kubhekudara. But the president again is not one who supports munhu anoita zvinhu zvisiriri. Tikaita system yekuti munhu wese wataona anofamba na president inomutsvaka, then amene kuti tinaenda kupi. Tikumbira kuti ku association ya president ngange ichirespectwa nevanhu vanenge vabve papo noti kuti vaizotinyepera. Nekuti kana vauya kuground vana Chidawu vochinyepa manje ndabva kuna president. Manje ini ndiripo ndinoziva handishe president ndinosvika kuparliament ndinonobvunzawo futi. Saka hapana zvandinoitwa. Handisi muZANU-PF handidziwa. Ndinomirira vanhu. Saka I am there. I am a thorn in the flesh. Ndosaka vachida kukandiwa vachida kundichikidzira and so forth. Isu takasunga 77 times nguva yaMugabe nacho. Tikabuda 77 times hapana nerecord iyoyo. Saka titongori mabhanditi panapa zvakatokwana saka hatichikidzirwe. We want justice to prevail. He seems to have a personal vendetta with the leaders of the Joshua Nkomo Housing Cooperative. If indeed they committed the fraud, he is alleged. Why haven't they been arrested? But we must understand that. But he cannot then have a situation abuse his powers. This is abuse of office. Chidawu must be warned. He's going to leave office one day. But he must know that Alkumirirwa. But fortunately for Chidawu, anima passports maviri. Ane America, ne Zimbabwe. So how then does the government appoint somebody who has an American passport and a Zimbabwean passport? Where does his allegiance fall? Where does his allegiance fall? These are the CIA people planted in this country. I is the kind of gentleman but my Americans want the confidence yakumupa. Ku Harare South is causing the same disaster. Pane stronghold yes ZANU-PF are causing disaster. Election chacha hawin anoiswa pachigaro ipapo nenyasha enoshasha. Hana vanhu vanao. Kana Hurumende ichida kuti chinhu chifambe kune UDCOP iri under national housing inolidwa na honorable minister engineer Gagaro. Ko government yadiri kutaura kuti tauda kuregularize UDCOP pindai mugazesha maroads zvese UDCOP iri kuita basa rei. They cannot pay anything to Billy. The demanded money is illicit. Going to Billy Chidawu na July Moyo na Matanga. I mentioned these names and I am on record on video saying Chidawu You are corrupt in this matter. You are getting kickbacks from Bill. July Moyo, you are the worst minister of local government. Chombo was better. At least aita corruption aji different You are totally useless. You lost a seat. You are there on the mercy of the president, but you are destroying the president every day. In the Midlands province, you have caused more havoc for this country. Yet politically, the Midlands is weak. Masvingo is strong. Makuwa, kuna president every day. Muchita chitsotsi chakadai. Billy Rottenberg again, you are not the owner of this. You are a criminal. You are a white criminal who always wants to say on sanctions. What about the other Zimbabweans on sanctions who have suffered? Should they not get anything? You want to always want to give the impression that what businesses have you ever run other than milking this country of its resources and speculating? The same concessions you've been given. Mbuya ni ngiri 100 years wakapiwa wanotengesa one mali zozokuzi wanoda mineral hawadi mufesi mundu. So why is it not being extended to think black people? The strategy is to create havoc, make noise so that government ends up compensating Billy. For what? Todo Nwange was given for speculative purposes. He never mined anything. They have been intimidating, harassing people, beating people up. See Jima Tanga, by his own admission and apology, says that the police are not in possession of a court order instructing them to deploy police to asking them to remove the people. So under whose instruction was this order made? The people have been assured by both the Vice President Chiwenga and His Excellency Edim Nango that they will not be removed. Billy has been instructed to produce irrefutable evidence of ownership. He has not. Why? The aspect of ownership is in the courts. Government cannot compensate him until it is done. But government needs to now investigate where did he get this title deeds. Ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, proof of ownership in title is one, where is the transfer to Rothmans? And where is the acknowledgement of the money from Rothmans? After all has been said and done, where has money changed hands? Where has money changed hands? We therefore challenge Billy Rottenberg to show us proof of payment to Rothmans International, and we also expect Rothmans International to respond that they did indeed receive payment from Billy Rottenberg. After all has been said and done, these are the material facts we want before us. Even if he got that and he paid for that, these people are not moving anyway. Government will compensate, as the president said. So to us, Hon Chidawu must come with facts that are not kurembeza dumbu, corruption name American marines and paper chichi kapoese, atidizo, andizwe. Baviringita harare usikamboitika ndaimbofiya kasumudzika muna mato wangu kuti vasapedze temi mukuru aone zvaanogona kuti aise munhu akamirira musangano nevanhu venzvimbo inoyi. Saka izvozvo makomrades zvese izvi mazviona zvamatanga zviripo. Affidavit yavakaisa vega vachitaura kuti the applicant is therefore misleading the court by averring that the police officers were deployed to assist first responders who Billy Rottenberg. But he sent them. He's such a liar at that age. No wonder why the former Commissioner General of Police said he hasn't even got O levels, which is so true. And if there's anything I agree now, is how can you have a Commissioner General who hasn't even got O levels? The thing late Shire and other commanders have got master's degree after the war. They have pursued the education. Banamam Juruesa. Because iye aba wonder chiri O level. Oh, Tunga Purisa. What are you leading? Kunyafana nema MBA nema PhD. We are being we are not being represented well in the police of this country. I hope that change will happen. I don't know if there are any other questions that you want to ask, but you have seen the evidence which is before you. This is what we talk about. I don't know if Honorable Chidawu also laid before you this evidence.
Honorable.
This is the fake title deed. This is the real title deed. It's a case for anti-corruption, yes.
Ndaikumbirawo iyo outcome yekukoti iyo kuti inzwike nenation iyo.
Yes.
Iyo timboinzwawo iyo.
This was a case where was the Nile Collective Farming Cooperative Society Limited and the Minister of Local Government and National Housing, the Minister of Lands, Agriculture, Rural Resettlement and Register of Deeds being the first, second and third respondent. On the 25th day of March 2019, before Justice Mazofa, Advocate Ocheng for applicants, T. Shumba for second and third applicants, no appearance for the third respondent, which is the Register of Deeds, Agasico Court. Whereupon, after reading documents filed of recording and hearing counsel, it is ordered that the decision by the first respondent contained in the letter dated 5th March 2018 from Secretary for Local Government, Public Works and National Housing, cancelling or withdrawing the right for second applicant to develop an urban housing scheme for its purpose on stand 48 Aspindale Park, Township of Subdivision A of Aspindale Park of Subdivision A and B of Lockiver will be, and it is hereby declared null and void and of no force and effect.
Correct.
This is the same land he says he owns. And he is not claiming this. Now he wants to go and take money from all these people in US dollars. And how can that be? So I thought that we must be very clear. We've laid the facts, and I am appealing that His Excellency meets these people. They wrote to him on the 27th of August requesting to meet His Excellency Comrade Edim Gabe. He's a listening, Edim Nangabe is a listening president, and I have no doubt that he will be able to give them the audience so that they can also give their side of the story and so forth. Being a lawyer, being a Democrat, being a pragmatic person, a reformist, two sides of the story are critical. These who are coming to him, July Moyo, Chidawu, and Matanga, and Billy, are a cartel of people who want to just rob people of their money. They've already agreed on their earnings. And the only way is for him to go the fence. And we thank him for assuring the people that they will not go anywhere. As you are every day, certainty is critical in this aspect. But the criminals must be investigated too. Yes.
Honorable, mati mimi initri mugaro mu area hiyo hii. Mimi mati makasika ku office ya president. Mukaona wana matanga, mukaona wana dumbura akauya muzvimbemo. Office hombe ndeipi ya president kozoti ya resident minister. Akazoita conference nezuro achitaura kuti nzvimbo iyaya ine muridzi.
Zvinoitika ndezvekuti provincial minister of state mumiriri wapresident mumaprovinces, asi panyaya anoenda ega, haaende neni, saka anoenda kunonyepera president. Ndosaka tayazokwaita nyaya yacho. Saka awana president orakidzana mapepa ari fake aya, amwe arakidza zvonzi Billy ndiye muridzi. Saka president vakarakidzwa bepa kuti muridzi ndiBilly, ari kuti vanhu ngavabhadhare 85. Maybe vakazotaura kuti ngaende hake, but isusu hatingazive, tosati that we disregard what has gone on until iye mukuru akasangana nevanhu ava asvitsa shoko chairo kune vanhu ava kuti izvi ndizvo zviripo, nekuti tatsanangurira vakaona mapepa vakabvuma. Asi kuti believe kuti akaona president vakamuti enda munobvisa vanhu ngavabhadhare, tinozviramba nekuti I think process yacho iripo. Ini ndagara ndiri team leader. Amatanga vaona president vakanzi endai munoona Mliswa ndiye team leader kuti abetsere panyaya. Saka ndini ari pamberi penyaya ndichimirira vanhu. Saka kana sazvasvika kwandiri hapana zvezvinoreva. Yes.
Okay. I want to ask, according to the way you have presented the facts, this is a purely a legal issue. But in most cases when you are dealing with this issue, you are pushing it to be political. For instance, you are saying you are waiting for the president to do something. What do you expect the president to do on a matter that is purely legal? You have shown us the documents. In a few seconds, you managed to prove that the Marimba property is not the owner. Why are you failing to do this in the courts? And now up to date, you've lost up to 11 cases. So your issue is purely legal. But whenever you are talking, you want to mix legal issues with political issues. If these guys are true owners of the land, they've got the title to be on this land. Why is it that you are not getting favorable outcome from the courts? And why are you so relying? Why are you relying too much on the powers of the president on an issue that is purely legal?
That's a very good question. First of all, where are the 11 court cases that have been lost? Do you have Hold on. No, let us help him. Let us help him. We have shown you 2 court orders which are not in dispute of, which they've won. Where are the so-called 11 cases that they've lost? No, let's go step by step. You can't have your cake and eat it. You have said, and you're a seasoned journalist, you speak with evidence. Where are the 11? If not, give us the court case numbers. No, because we don't want to respond to something which is not factual. But understand. Where are the 11 court cases that have been lost? You asked as a journalist. No, where I want to respond, but I cannot respond without you showing evidence of the 11 court cases which have been lost and against who? Unless you say, if you're a true journalist, you can withdraw that. Then we move to the next. Because I'm not moving there until you show the 11.
I'm not going to withdraw anything. When you're presenting yourself,
so I cannot respond to a journalist who does not understand the ethics of 2 sides of the story. We have asked you, evidence is critical. No, we have asked you. It shows that you are certainly planted, you've been paid to come and ask that question. Where are the 11 court cases which you say have been lost? It's a simple question. We have shown you court orders. We have shown you court orders. Here is the court order, and the court number is there. There's another court order here.
Can I answer on his behalf?
No, let him answer. He's on the grill. Let him answer. Because we don't want people who peddle lies. Okay, we don't want people who peddle lies. No, we don't want people who come with agendas and peddle lies.
which cases have you lost in regards to this?
They have never lost a case.
You're presenting your statement, you said we have been losing cases because this.
Where did I say I've been losing cases? Where did I say I've been losing cases? Are we together here?
You said these guys have been losing cases because BDS got money to pay.
Which cases did I talk about? Which case? But no, all right. We have He said the tower could have been losing cases. The tower could 11.
No, that's the number. There are a lot of cases that is.
But no. But you are not helping yourself. You have really exposed yourself. What I will do is to answer the fact of why go to the president, because it is now corruption being done by people who he appoints. So it's no longer legal. It's a political issue which requires his office to deal with these people who are being corrupt.
Yes.
He has the power, the prerogative to fire and hire. And that's why we have gone to appeal to His Excellency, which is anybody's right. Now, let's have proper questions from the seasoned journalists.
Yeah, correct.
Yes.
Yes, a question. I think there are a number of times we have come to address these issues with Joshua. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. When you come to deal with an issue, I think you need more than one group, so that you ask both sides.
No, can I be honest with you?
Correct.
Can I be honest with you?
Correct.
I deal with facts.
Correct.
Even if I see one person and they've given me this, it's good enough.
Yes.
I don't need to meet 100 people.
I'm not
The
talking-
law,
I'm
the
not
law.
talking of 100 people, but if there is an issue,
There is,
parties.
to me, they invited me
Yes, it is.
on one issue.
Right.
The issue that they invited me on was, Honorable Mliswa, can you help us as citizens because we are now getting to a point where we are restless. We have no help. Where the ownership is said to be owned by Billy, but we've got all this documentation which clearly shows Billy does not own this. We are being evicted out, we are being targeted, and a lot of other things are happening. The colonel comes here, fires shots in the air to intimidate people and so forth. And how can you help us? First thing is, okay, give me evidence. This is the evidence that I've good, unless you can refute this evidence. But knowing you, I see you black, I don't see you being Billy Rotten, so I don't know how much you would be able to respond to.
I've not completed my question. You
So
are answering a question that I did not ask.
No, but do you know the reason why I'm asking? I'm intelligent enough to read the question of somebody sent and somebody not sent. So as I've answered you, I am that smart. I am a politician who chaired the province knowing a plant of We want seasoned journalists who are able to ask questions which I think. Let us try.
Honorable Mliswa, my name is Tafadzo Nyikazino from State of the Nation News.
Now
yesterday we were at Honorable Chidawu's presser, where he accused you of having ulterior motives to fight this fight, saying that you are not voicing the allegations of double allocation of stands which were being done by these land developers, and the lack of development which he said was not taking place for about 15 years since this land was being developed under these land developers. So are these accusations true, especially considering that you have you are on the, like, we have documented history of you and Billy having these constant fights for one thing and another?
That's a very good question. I've never lied that I don't know Billy. I've worked with Billy, and that's why I can tell you about Billy. Billy is a criminal, and I've always said that. I've been very clear on that. Aside that, there are these issues of fact which are there. Honorable Chidawu says I have a hidden agenda or double allocations. I'm not in this for double allocations. Double allocation is a different issue. I'm here to defend the state by ensuring that they're the owners and they gave this to the people. That's what I mean. This is my real issue. And that has got nothing whether with the personal vendetta with Billy or not. I am just presenting facts as they are. And I would have liked Honorable Chidawu to also present facts as they are. I will not allow a white man who has somehow woodwinked leadership to believe that is right, and because I've given money to equally for me to be woodwinked as well. I cannot. I will help the nation to understand that this white man is a criminal. I've dealt with him, he's a criminal.
Okay, since you said you are interested in representing the people, aren't you also concerned about these reports of, you know, people being duped by double allocations of stands and whatnot? Aren't you also interested in making sure that people are not being duped, if there are any cases of duping by these?
I think I agree with you. One of the fundamental things is to agree on ownership. First of all, who owns this land? And then once the ownership is done, then you then do a verification exercise. You do a verification exercise to see with the people on these stands, are they the owners or not? This is where the double allocations come in and so forth. But Billy also being the owner of all this, he has a purpose. Why is he not dealing with the double allocations? Why is the Minister of State why is the Minister of State himself not helping in clarifying who the owner is? Because in bringing Billy on board, you are now creating double allocation, triple, quadruple allocation. So to us, ownership is there. We know this one owns this, and then there is verification, which is happening and so forth. And then we then stop from entertaining corrupt people who claim to own the land to come and take land and start charging these figures which are totally out of this world. Yes.
Kuti vachidawo vane interest in the terms yekuti butman wells inova iko nemagora atinoona munzvimbo muya nemakatapira newhatsoever machines ndeyavachidawo.
You see,
what I can just say to you, I would not want to talk about Brickman World because I don't know who owns it. I've also heard the same story and so forth. What I can only attest to is this transaction that I know that is part of it. He's part of this. He's an interested party to a point that he has forgotten his role as a provincial minister of state to push the agenda of the government. Because the question you must ask, why would one want to go against government policy to achieve an agenda which is not of government policy? The motivation can only be corruption. That's what it is. Yes.
Honorable, pane imwe issue yakaitika panzvimbo patiri kugara. Ndaida kunzwisisa kuti simba iri rakabva kupi rekuti munhu anga allocatwa necooperative. Nzvimbo yaakaallocatwa ndokubva atanga kuerecta business yake ipapo. Imba iyoyo yakadonhedzwa neMarimba Properties. Amene kuti judgment yacho yakabva kupi isati taziva kuti zvakamira sei. Toda kuti
You see, this is what we are exposing, that when these things happen, they've got the police who are watching. There is no one legally who's allowed to go even evict somebody who enter pamba pabo. There's got to be a court order. You know, but court eviction order. There's got to be a court order. You know, break a property order. In a normal setup, personal war, personal criminal police is MIP, malicious injury to property. You are charged for that. Because the messenger of court is the one that carries the eviction order. And if you refuse, it then gets the assistance of the police to now come and ensure it happens. So that's why we are here complaining, exposing the corruption. Then they target one varikuita noise, varikuti one is rikuitika, woda kuwasunga drones ndoma malend barons.
They were detained.
They were detained.
Uyu apanya imba is not detained. Very leadership e. And then what we create a divide and rule. You have known that varuku wafungati wanatema wanafanga wachifighter. The truth of the matter with this one, I'm godly, I'm spiritual. This will never prevail to think these people will be removed. Ultimately, God is watching, and God will defend these people to the last because they are innocent. Yes. And those who play with God's children will perish.
Yes. Yeah. They must.
They will fall down. like nyuchi za spray wa ne mshonga. Izatichke zungwa ilikuya ya mwana. The former president, late Jim Mugabe, was the most powerful man. We all know that. But when the time came, it sure did come. So who is Temba Mliswa to abuse his powers instead of defending people? Surely mbuya zilimo ziadzia wesa na sekura limo pension yao yenda pambapaya mwari kwari ukongo peta maoka chingona chiti itai azvipere zvakanaka.
24 years now. Honorable.
I think let me have two more questions and then we close this. Yes.
Okay, Honorable, you have been on record for bringing to for raising cases of many corrupt people in the government and also many civic organizations. So my question is, how different is this case from the others? Considering that in other cases you had tangible evidence, so in this case you also have tangible evidence. So how different is this case from the others, and how best can we guarantee us that the treatment you received in the previous cases won't affect this one? And also, what assurance do you have for the people you are advocating for sure their rights would be taken into consideration, or is it an issue of simply raising awareness for certain levels of corruption and maladministration, which won't be dealt with but simply talked about?
That's a very good question. That's a good question. And my answer is, for a very long time, people have been talking about corruption. Nothing seems to happen. We used to blame sanctions. Sanctions went away. Then the biggest sanction is the corruption issue failed to deal with. There is one court, which is COURT, that's the court I'm talking about, which does not forget. A court which will judge you harshly. And that is the society court. The The society court is the people's court which know the truth. No matter how great a lawyer you have made that somebody, you are acquitted. But people know that you killed. That on its own is a burden on you. There's also they say that your conscience must be your master. And we cannot be tired because no action is being taken. But whatever we're doing here is being recorded. You see all these videos, you see everything. One day somebody will be in power amongst us here who's listening. Who will say, but I went to this, where are these people? So Apana Mosha, you know what? So that's why we keep bringing them up. It's like history. One day these will be the archives. But they certainly will be attended to. That's what inspires me. That's what keeps me going and ultimately knowing that the God that we have is a true God. But in terms of institutions failing to deal with corruption, I agree with you. They failed. And because of that, that's why they are rendered useless in this whole thing. From the First Republic to the Second Republic, it seems we have gone into the second gear of corruption. You know, if you see more institutions being put together without dealing with corruption, it talks about the failure to deal with it. If you see yourself going to more than 3 doctors, then it means there's a problem. May the first doctor that you go to attend to your disease and your problem, and you're okay. Once end up with a specialist, end up with a So what I'm talking about, and I tweeted the other day, without fear or faith, any government that does not address issues pertaining to people's welfare, issues pertaining to corruption, will get itself out of power. That's all I can say.
Thank you for answering that. Then the last question will be, in as much as we have agreed that the current system has failed to address and is failing to address the issues of corruption, and you're also talking of how Mugabe came to fall about based on that, can we also now agree that the Second Republic is at the verge of following the same path, or following the same way the last did?
You are very intelligent. you know where you were trying to go. So you think hooked me to the first one. And now your second question was supposed to be the first question. I see that. You've got to understand that we're in a democratic space and people have a right to vote for who they want. If the society believes voting for leaders who are corrupt is great, it's up to them at the end of the day. I'm not one at all. In me being here and bringing these issues up is indicative of the fact that I support the president, I support the government. The most dangerous person is the person who's quiet. But in me bringing these issues up, it is my hope that something will be done to address these issues. And believe you me, if something can be done to bring this issue to an end, whoever would have done it is guaranteed 30,000 votes. But whoever does not do it is minus 30. I think we're done with questions unless there's any burning one. I didn't get a lady journalist who asked me. It will not be proper. Do we have? Okay, I thank you, and just take shots of all this. If you want my first take.